What's going on, Tamers? It is me, your certified looper, and I say that today because we are finally going to do a deck profile on Minervamon and Mervamon for the BT11 Dimensional Phase set. What started as just like a passing idea, just to say, oh, let me give it a shot, let me see how Minervamon and Mervamon will work to their full potential, became my favorite deck to play in the set. So yeah, I guess that should speak for itself. If you're the kind of person who really likes these combo oriented decks where you build up to get to a combo, and then once you get the combo and you execute, you feel like a genius and you win the game, that's the kind of deck that this is. So in this video, we're going to talk about the cards that actually make up the deck. We're also going to cover the game plan as well as how to execute the loop step by step. So let's hop into it. So taking a look at our deck cam view here, we're going to start with our level 2s, our Digitama, and then work our way up. The Digitama for this deck, we only have 4 of them. It's going to be 4 copies of the BT3 Minervamon. A big part of this deck is cycling through your cards as fast as possible, and his inheritance effective on deletion, draw a card, and then discard a card from your hand really fits that. If you're worried about running out of Digitama because you think your games may go long or you're going to be using multiple eggs during the course of a turn, feel free to add a 5th one in there, but personally I think 4 is enough. So moving up to our level 3s, in the same vein that we like Minervamon for being able to cycle through the deck, we like 4 copies of this card as well, because in my opinion it is the best version of cycle for level 3 in all of purple without having to hard play a Digimon. And for that reason, even if you don't run it in the deck, I feel like you should just get 4 copies of this card because it is a purple staple. And that is going to be 4 copies of the BT2 Gabumon. Now this guy's just alt art, this is the normal version of the card art you'll see here. But his inheritance of being able to draw 2 cards and then discard 1 card is fantastic. And he potentially sets you up for turns where whenever he's destroyed, you can cycle through more than 10% of your deck at a time to get the cards that you need. You may be tempted to be using cards that just discard cards from the top of your deck. However, this deck is really specific in the cards that you need in your hand, as well as the cards that you need in the trash to get your Minerva loop going. For that reason, I would advise against using those kinds of cards and then focus solely on cards that allow you to draw cards from the deck and then choose which ones to discard. Our next level 3 is one of the new cards introduced in the BT11 series, and that's going to be 4 copies of Ignitemon. Ignitemon at first glance doesn't look that incredible, but his effects actually combo very well with this deck. The first one being on Inheritance. Whenever Digimon is played by an effect, you can gain 1 memory on either turn. And because this deck mostly plays Digimon on the top end by effects, this card is going to be super useful in gaining memory on either your or your opponent's turn. Additionally, you can attack with this guy and then destroy one of your own Digimon and destroy one of your opponent's Digimon at the same level. This is fantastic target for your Minervamon. If she swung on security and wasn't able to be destroyed, you can then swing with your Ignitemon, destroy your Minervamon, destroy an opponent's level 6, and then you can play level 5 from her. Our last level 3 cards are going to be some defensive text, some floodgates. We're going to have 2 copies of Psychemon from BT8, as well as 1 copy of Gazimon from BT3. I'm really worried about Death Xmon, and for that reason I run 2 Psychemon over the Gazimon here. Your opponent can actually kind of set you up and utilize your Minervamon's effect to their advantage by playing a bunch of Digimon, and then you also, by Minervamon's effect, have to play a bunch of Digimon from the trash, and then they play Death Xmon for an insanely reduced cost, and then just wipe your entire board out. This also exists to some extent with Mervamon as well, and so in a lot of cases I like to just seal off a big turn like that by just playing a Psychemon so I don't have to worry about Death Xmon afterward. Our next card, moving up to a level 4, is actually going to be another addition from the BT11 Dimensional Phase set, and that's going to be 4 copies of Dark Lizardmon. Dark Lizardmon has Retaliation, as well as the ability of on deletion, draw a card, and then discard a card from your hand. He's very flexible because in the early game you can use him for cycle, and in the late game, he's actually used by Mervamon to get multiple swings in a turn. Or if you need to go wide with blockers, he's also able to do that. Our next level 4 is probably the best level 4 package that Purple has to offer at this point in the game, and that's going to be 3 copies of Eismon Scatter Mode, followed by 1 copy of Eismon. So Eismon Scatter Mode, on deletion, draw 3, drop 2, which is incredible, especially when combined with something like your Gabumon and then your Minervamon. And then finally, Eismon, at any point in the game, whenever he's discarded, if you got an Eismon in the trash, then you can play him immediately from the trash onto the board. And then he also gets plus 2,000 for every Eismon Scatter Mode in the trash as well. And our last level 4 for the deck is just going to be 2 copies of the starter deck, Devimon. Why run this guy? Honestly, it's because sometimes I need an extra blocker. He's also very cheap at just a 1-cost Digivolve, so if you're trying to get to your Minervamon very, very quickly, he's a great way to do that, and also just have some defense on board. Moving up to our level 5, the level 5 package for this deck is very, very simple. It's just going to be the BT4 Cerberusmon package, being able to play 4 copies of the BT4 Cerberusmon, as well as the 4 copies of BT4 Cerberusmon Werewolf Mode. So you can think of these cards as the gas for your loop engine, where Cerberusmon has just the on deletion effect of draw 2 and then discard 1 from your hand. Cerberusmon Werewolf Mode says that whenever he's played, if you have a Cerberusmon on the board, you can destroy it and then gain 9 memory. So your loop allows you to gain tons of memory by playing both of these cards at the same time and then gaining that effect of destroying the Cerberusmon And then the Cerberusmon Werewolf mode also has Rush, so it can attack immediately once it's played. So this last card here really is just a flexibility choice for me, and sometimes I just need to blow something up, and this card is good for that. It's going to be the BT7 Lucemon Fall Down mode. Keep in mind that you can slap a Tamer or level 6 Digimon with this guy, so if you're having trouble with something, you can simply just get rid of it with him whenever one of your Minervamon is destroyed. If you are having trouble getting your hands on one of these guys, or you don't want to run them in the deck, then feel free to just include another Mervamon whenever we talk about that. So we're finally at the level 6s for the deck, and these are where the stars of the deck really get to shine. That's first going to be 4 copies of BT10's Minervamon. She has Retaliation as well as the ability to go wide whenever your opponent goes wide. What I mean here is that on your opponent's turn, whenever they would play a Digimon on the board, just play a Digimon, not Digivolve, then you can also play a level 4 or lower Digimon from your trash alongside that. So if they go super wide over the course of the turn, you can just match them Digimon for Digimon as long as you have the cards in the trash to do so. Additionally, whenever she's destroyed, you can play level 5 from your trash onto the board, and you do get its effect. That's very, very important, the fact that you do get the level 5's effect. Keep in mind that you want to collect her during the course of your game in your hand. You want to have as many copies of Minervamon in your hand as possible. That way your loop can continue as long as you want. So our second star of the deck is, you guessed it, it's in the title of the video, and that's going to be Mervamon from BT11. We got 3 copies of her. Again, if you don't want to run the Lucemon Fall Down mode, you can run 4 copies of her, and it works out just as well. So whenever she's Digivolved into or played, you can take a Digimon from the trash that either has Retaliation or has Cross Hearts in its traits and play it on the board. Additionally, if you Digicross her and you put the Ignite up under her, then you can do that with 2 Digimon instead of 1. This would allow you to play 2 Dark Lizardmons or 2 Ignite instead of just 1. Although she is a little heavy at 11 costs for on play, if you do Digicross her, you can put the Ignite up under her and then reduce that cost by 3. Keep in mind that whenever you do Digicross and put the Ignite up underneath her, she's also playing 2 Digimon from the trash by an effect, and so you'll gain a memory by that, which means that it'll discount her cost even further to 7 play cost Digimon. Moving along to our options, the first card we're going to talk about is the most important option in the deck, and that's going to be 4 copies of the BT5 Revive from Darkness. For 4 memory, you can destroy one of your own Digimon on board of any level, and then play a level 5 Digimon from your trash. So the use of this card is very specific. Your target for this card should always be, 100% of the time, Minervamon. And the card that you should opt to get back with its effect should always be Cerberusmon, not the werewolf mode, just the regular one, without exception. It's important to note that the card that you play with this card's effect does not get its own on-play effect, if it has one. So for that reason, if you were to get Cerberusmon werewolf mode, you could not use its on-play effect of destroying a Cerberusmon and then gaining 9 memory. This next card is going to be a one-off tech, and that's going to be 1 copy of the starter deck Deathclaw. This just allows you a cheap way to destroy your Minervamon to play a Mervamon from her effect. It's also just a good way to get rid of a floodgate or a blocker on your opponent's side of the board at the same time. Again, being able to destroy level 4 Digimon or lower on your opponent's side of the board. Our next option card is one that you can only run 1 of in the deck because of the newly updated restriction list, and that's going to be 1 copy of Calling from the Darkness. You can destroy one of your own Digimon on the board and then get 2 Digimon from your trash and add them back to your hand. This is just good for getting back your pieces for Minervamon. So if you're running low on Minervamon, you want to continue your loop, then this is a fantastic card to get that. Or if you just need other pieces over the course of the game to get to your Minervamon, this is one way to do it. So the last 2 option cards for this deck are going to be 2 copies of Mist Memory Boost. Now, I know it's not preferential because it's just discarding cards into the trash. However, it does give you a little bit of cycle in being able to draw 1 card afterward. And if you need the memory later on, then this is a fantastic way to seal off a turn and then later on get that 2 memory to potentially go into your Minervamon loop. So let's finally take a look at some of the Tamers for the deck. This deck's Tamer choices are very simple. The first one is going to be 2 copies of the BT2 Madashita Tamer. Again, minimum 3 memory to start every turn is fantastic, and then sometimes you just need to get back a Revive from Darkness or Minervamon, and he allows you to do that with his on-play effect of getting back a Digimon or an option from the trash and adding it to your hand. The last Tamer that I like to run in this deck is 3 copies of the EX1 Analog Youth. It's super cheap cycle. I don't know what more you could ask for in this deck. He, for 2 costs, lets you look at the top 3 cards of your deck and then grab a Digimon and then discard the rest of the cards. So you get that Minervamon that you might need and then trash the Cerberusmon and Cerberusmon Werewolf mode. And then whenever one of your level 5 or higher Digimon with a source is destroyed, you can rest him, hatch an egg, and then gain the memory. So the more of these guys you have out, whenever you use your Revive from Darkness and you destroy your Minervamon, you can rest this guy and then gain a bunch of memory off of that as well. So now let's take a look at some gameplay tips for the deck. So in the early game, you should only be focused on cycling through your cards and getting the cards you need to execute your loop. So you want to get and use cards like Minervamon, the Gabumon, Dark Lizardmon, Icemon Scatter Mode, Cerberusmon, and then also the option cards of Miss Memory Boost and the Tamer Analog Youth. All these cards are going to allow you to cycle through your deck as quickly as possible. My opinion, I think that the best way to cycle through the deck is to go from Demi-Meramon to Gabumon, and then also play Eismon Scatter Mode. So with these cards in a single stack, whenever the Eismon Scatter Mode would swing on security and be destroyed, you're going to draw 3, 4, 5, 6 cards, and you're going to have to discard 2, 1, and 1, so 4. So you'll go net 2 in card advantage, but at the same time, you'll be able to put the cards that you need in the trash, and keep the cards in your hand that you need as well. So talking about the cards that we're going to be collecting over the course of the game, the 2 cards that we want to collect in our hand are going to be Revive from the Darkness, as well as the Minervamon. Again, get as many copies of these guys as possible in your hand. And then finally, the cards that we're going to collect in the trash are going to be everything from Cerberusmon Werewolf Mode to Dark Lizardmon, Cerberusmon itself, Mervamon, and then the accompanying Ignitemon. So just one more time, get these in hand, get these in the trash. So now let's actually talk about how to perform the Minervamon loop. The first step is to get to your Minervamon and also keep your turn. So we're going to evolve over our Cerberusmon right here, and we go to 0. Keep in mind that we have set up our trash already, so we have the cards that we need in the trash right now. Now, once we have our Minervamon on board, we can either, if we feel like our opponent's security is very light, we can swing in with a Minervamon, or the safer route is to just play Revive from the Darkness. So Revive from the Darkness is going to destroy your Minervamon, and its effect allows you to grab a level 5 from the trash. With Revive from the Darkness's effect, you're going to be grabbing Cerberusmon. Always Cerberusmon. And that's because, again, the Revive from Darkness does not allow you to use the on-play effect of a Digimon that is played from the trash by its effect. However, Minervamon's effect that plays a level 5 from trash does let you get its on-play effect. So for that reason, with Minervamon's on-deletion effect, we're going to grab the Cerberusmon, Werewolf Mode. And we're going to play that alongside it. This effect goes off. Again, Revive from the Darkness costs 4. The Cerberusmon Werewolf Mode's effect is going to go off. You're going to destroy the Cerberusmon here, gain 9 memory, go to 5, and then from this Cerberusmon right here, you're also going to draw 2, drop 1. Additionally, because we did destroy our Minervamon, who was a level 5 or higher with a source, we could rest our Analog Youth here and gain an extra memory, but again, that's up to you. So once you have your Werewolf Mode on the board, you can swing with him if you feel like your opponent's security is light, or you can Digivolve into Minervamon again. Again, the ones that you've been collecting all game, this is where that comes into play. You can very easily see how the loop works at this point. Keep in mind that if you do Digivolve into the Minervamon, you're not going to be able to attack because you lose the rushed ability from the Cerberusmon Werewolf Mode. So that was your only chance to attack with this Digimon specifically. And then once again, with Minervamon, you can play Revive from the Darkness and do the whole combo over again. So at this point, you want to start actually making some moves that involve either Digivolving again and then playing Revive from the Darkness to go down 4, go to 6, and instead of actually playing out the Cerberusmons, you can use Minervamon's secondary effective. Instead of a level 5, you can just grab a Mervamon herself. And then with Mervamon's effect, you can Digicross from the trash. And you can grab an Ignitemon up under her. Scoop. And because she was played by an effect from Minervamon, you'd gain a memory. And then her effect goes off, which allows you to play 2 Retaliation or Crosshair Digimon from the trash. And because Minervamon is a Crosshair Digimon herself, you have 3 attackers immediately. So all of these could either swing for security, or you could Digivolve them up into something else and just keep going. The idea here really is to just go ham once you get all the memory that you need. One little note here about the Minervamon and the attacking of the Dark Lizardmons here. If you're going to attack with these guys, then I recommend you do it with the Dark Lizardmons first, because if Minervamon is destroyed, then the ability for them to gain Rush and Blocker goes away as well, so gotta be careful there. And there you have it. Congrats, Tamer. You too are now a certified looper. When this deck drops for the BT11 English version of the game, please give it a try. It has become my favorite deck to play in all of the current meta, so I really wholeheartedly recommend other people try it as well. If you have any questions about the deck or you have any comments about the deck, please let me know in the comments below. I'll always be reading there. Anyways, I'm going to get out of here. Before you guys get out of here, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.